All right, guys, what is going on? We are here for the RLCS Season 6 prediction playoff scenarios. It's been a super long night. As you can see, it's 9:04, and I have to be up at 5:30 a.m. So we're going to make this quick. I didn't do this so extreme yet. I might make it a little cleaner, and I might update the video later on in the week if necessary. But for now, we're going to go over the quick and dirty version for playoff scenarios for North America. So first off, if you go to Nallen's site, Nathan Allen, I will put the link in the YouTube description below. You can do your own playoff scenarios and figure out what is going to happen. So you can do like, all right, if Rogue 3-0's FlyQuest, what happens? Let's go down to the percentages. And if that happens, Rogue, well, they clinch a top 6 spot because you can see 75% they'll come in 5th, 25% 6th, and 0% there. So that's how you would figure it out. And you can play along and go over all this stuff. So again, I didn't do everything. Also, this is on my laptop and this is just my screen. It's the simplest way I could do it. I'm just trying to do this quick for you guys so in case players want to know or in case the fans want to know how you can clinch. So let's go over it. Really simple. The easiest one in the world is Ghost. So let's look at the standings real quick while we're here, just to make it a little bit easier for you guys. So here's the standings. Ghost, if they win, they're in simply because their game differential is so good. So if they get 2 wins, see that -4? Well, that'll turn into at least a -3, and they will be in because if FlyQuest loses to Rogue, then FlyQuest will drop below that number because they will get higher in game differential. If Rogue loses, well, they're going to drop even lower in that number, and they won't be able to catch up to Ghost either. So there you go. Simple as that. And that's if Ghost beats Allegiance. They play Allegiance this week. So really simple for Ghost. If they win, they're in. If they lose, well, they're out because they only have 1 win, and everyone else is going to pick up wins. The first 2 games are very important. So you can see it's Rogue, FlyQuest, and then Allegiance and Ghost game. And so these 2 games, very important for top 6. It doesn't necessarily mean that whoever wins these games will get in, but we'll explain that in a little bit. So second up is Allegiance. As we see with the game differential, again, -9. So they need all the help in the world. They can barely catch up to these guys like FlyQuest. They would have to sweep to go down to -6. FlyQuest would have to lose a 3-1, and then they would tie at -6, and Allegiance would own that tiebreaker because they beat FlyQuest earlier in the year. So that's what Allegiance would need. They would need a lot of help if that happens. So what they need to happen basically is if they win 1, and if Rogue loses 2, well, that's easy. Then they move up to 2 wins. Rogue falls down to 1-6. Ghost will also be 1-6. Easy peasy. They're in. Don't have to worry about tiebreaks. That's Allegiance's best way to get in because, well, otherwise tiebreakers really have to come into play. So next up, if they win, well, they are playing. They're playing Ghost, so then Rogue would have to win 1, and then game differential. Like I said before, if Allegiance sweeps and then FlyQuest gets swept, they would move ahead of FlyQuest. Simple as that. But it would take a lot of games. They can't win like 3-2 and hope for that. So simple as that. Next up, if they win 3-1 or better, plus FlyQuest lose, plus game differential. So very similar to the other scenario. Again, I kind of wrote these last second, so some of these are going to overlap just a little bit, but there you have it. So if Rogue wins 1, so that also means like Rogue can beat EG, but if they lose to FlyQuest, well, Allegiance can still get in because, again, game differential, at least Rogue's game differential is a little bit closer to Allegiance's, and they could be exactly the same after that first set of Rogue versus FlyQuest, if that's the game. I keep forgetting what the games are. Yeah, Rogue versus FlyQuest. They could both be at -9 at that point. So, like, Allegiance can catch up to Rogue a little bit easier in game differential than they can to FlyQuest. So, there you go. So that's how that works. And again, if they beat Ghost, which is the team they play, they have to beat Ghost. And if they beat Ghost, well, they move ahead of Ghost. So it doesn't really matter about Ghost. So simple as that. Not too hard. Next up, Rogue can clinch top 6. They are, again, their game differential's a little bit better. And if they win, they should be right along where FlyQuest is. It should be relatively close. And, well, actually, they would have to be at least even with FlyQuest. Because if they win 3-2, well, then they're tied with FlyQuest. The problem is FlyQuest would then be done with their season. And Rogue still has to play EG. So they will drop down again. So if Rogue wins 2, they're in. Simple as that. If they 3-0 FlyQuest, they're in because they will move down to a -3 game differential. FlyQuest will move up to a -7. So if that happens, even if Rogue gets swept later on, they would still pass FlyQuest no matter what, and only Ghost or Allegiance can catch them. So that's how Rogue would make it. If they beat EG, and Allegiance beats Ghost, then they could also gain in through game differential. I think they can the other way as well, but it's a much harder game differential because again, Ghost has very good game differential. And then if they beat FlyQuest and then they just need some game differential, even if they lose to EG, as long as they beat FlyQuest, it can be any score, or not any score necessarily, but they would need some help. Like if they get a 3-2 versus FlyQuest, they'll move to -5. If they lose to EG 3-2, well, they move back up to -6. Then if Allegiance would have beat Ghost 3-2 or so, then Allegiance would not pass them because Allegiance, again, their game differential is so bad. It all depends on game differential. So that's why a lot of these I'm leaving a gray area of just figure it out with game differential because, again, anything can happen there. There's a lot of scenarios there. It's not really fun to type out every single one. Also, when I'm on the desk, I will let you know every single time what teams need in that game when possible. So if like a rogue needs a 3-1 versus EG to clinch, I will let you know that. If in case it's a 3-2 and they lose, we'll figure that out on the desk. So don't worry about that. I'll have that all updated. Next up, FlyQuest. They have the easiest road of the bottom 4 to make top 6. If they win, they're in, obviously. They will have 3 wins. That's pretty simple. If they lose 3-2 and EG beats Rogue or Allegiance beats Ghost, they are in. So as long as they lose a close set, they're okay because they'll be at -5. Rogue would also be at -5, but Rogue will immediately drop a little bit more to EG, so they will drop even further. So Rogue wouldn't be able to beat FlyQuest. And then Allegiance, if they beat Ghost, no matter the score, the best that they can do is a -6. So FlyQuest would be ahead of them there as well because that would be a -5. So that's why FlyQuest would make it. Next up, if they lose, but Allegiance beats Ghost, plus game differential again, it can still come into play depending on the results here, because Allegiance, again, terrible tiebreaker. So they can still get in based on that. So we could see, even though Allegiance and Ghost play each other, it's not necessarily a win and in-game there, right here. It's not a win and in-game because Allegiance, again, their tiebreakers are so bad that if they beat Ghost, both of these teams could easily be knocked out because of that result. So keep that in mind as we talk about this. The other one is if they lose 3-1, but Ghost beats Allegiance, but EG sweeps Rogue. So FlyQuest can lose to Rogue, and Ghost can get in, but then can still make it in over Rogue if Rogue gets swept. So pretty complicated, but again, a 3-1 would result in a -6 for FlyQuest. Rogue would move up to a -4, but if EG sweeps, they would move back down to a -7. So -6 beats -7, and Ghost and FlyQuest would advance. So that's how that would work out. Next up, we're going to move over to the top side. Cloud9's looking great. We got a +10 game differential. They've played, obviously, one more game, but even with everyone else playing, they can't even match the +10 at 5-1 of Cloud9. G2, Energy, EG, none of them can. G2 is the closest, but no one's that close. Even if G2 sweeps, and then Cloud9, they'll play later, and that's how people can catch up to them, because if they lose, and lose a lot, then that's possible. But at least for now, Cloud9 has a really big edge. If they beat Energy, they play Energy, their only game of the day, right in the middle of the day, then they are in. If they lose, but G2 wins both games, they are also in because G2 plays the other 2 one-loss teams. So they play Energy and EG. So if Cloud9 loses, they fall to 5-2. If G2 wins both, they move up to 6-1. They'll pass Cloud9, but the other 2 teams would also be 5-2. And if they lose, well, they can't catch up to Cloud9's game differential. So that would be that. Cloud9 would still advance. If G2 wins one of the games, then it comes down to game differential, because then G2 would be tied with Cloud9, as well as one of these other squads have a potential to move up to 6-1. So it'd come down to game differential among all of them. That's like a big to-do. Next up, if they lose 3-1 or 3-2 to clinch, and Rogue beats EG. So if they lose 3-1 to Energy, then if EG loses, then they would clinch if EG loses to Rogue. Because then it would be EG versus G2. And I believe this is right. I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure that's right. Because then also G2 and Energy play each other. So they would knock each other down a little bit further in the game differential, one of the 2. And that way Cloud9 would stay up above at least one of these 2 because of that match. So even if G2 got the 3-0 over EG, the main concern for Cloud9 in that scenario is EG winning both games and Energy winning both games. And then Cloud9 would have one loss or two losses, and Energy and EG both would be at 6-1. So that would be the case there. Moving on to G2. They can clinch top 2 with 2 wins, obviously. Pretty simple there. If they split, they need game differential help. I didn't want to write all these out because there's a lot of different scenarios. It depends how they split the series, because if they split with EG, like if they beat EG, EG is very likely to beat Rogue, but G2 will have that game differential most likely over EG. It's a better edge for them there. If they lose to EG, EG catches up a little bit more, and then Energy is closer in the game differential, so it could be a little bit tighter there, but it all comes down to how that works out. At most, if they split, they can be a positive, 2? So they can move to +8. Cloud9 could also get swept and move down. So G2 could pass Cloud9 if G2 splits, but only in the best case scenario where Cloud9 would get swept. They would move down to +7. G2 would move up to +8 in a split where they sweep one series, lose the other 3-2. That's the best case scenario. That's the only scenario. 1 in, 9 shot, because they need all those results to go that way. I guess that would work. 1 in 9. Something like that. I don't know. I'm not really going to do the math too hard here, but there you go. So that would help G2 chances a ton, and they would most likely be in because they would pass Cloud9, and then these two have to play each other. So, yeah. Let me make sure. Yeah, Energy. I'm sorry. Like, Energy doesn't play EG, so don't mind that game. But if they split, one of these teams moves up, one of them will move down, and yeah. If they pass Cloud9, I think basically they're in at that point. But, I'm not going to do every single game differential scenario. Next up, Energy clinch top 2. If they win 2, they are in. Once again, they'll be 6-1. Easy peasy. They play G2 and Cloud9, so that should be a lot of fun to see how those matches go. If they split, but they lose to C9, that's better than the loss to G2, plus game differential help. Another case of, if you lose to Cloud9, that's fine, because you're probably not beating them in tiebreakers anyway, so you'll be fine. Unless Energy sweeps Cloud9, they still wouldn't actually catch them, because they would sweep Cloud9, they would move to +7. They would also move down to +7. But if they're splitting, they have to lose another game, so they wouldn't pass Cloud9. So then they would have to hope that like EG loses to Rogue and EG beats G2 and like things like that. That's where game differential gets a little scary. But if they lose to C9, they don't have to worry about that. C9's up there, don't have to worry about tiebreakers. But if they beat G2, that helps a lot. Most likely move ahead of them in game differential, and then it comes down to how G2 does against EG and the game differential there and all of that. So there's a lot of different game differential type stuff for that matchup. Ton on the line here. And again, EG, here we go here as well. They're +3, so they have the worst game differential. They win 2, they are in. They get at least one of the games is pretty nice. They get Rogue. Now, Rogue looked pretty good today, so who knows. But if EG can get a big win there, they skyrocket up with their game differential. But then if they split, they also play, who was it? G2, right? Yeah, so G2. They split there. G2 moves back up, which would be very hard to catch up to. Like, they would be at +5 at best, EG. G2 would be at +7, and then G2 plays Energy later. So if they don't get swept, then EG falls behind G2, and Energy would obviously move up if they swept G2. So that'd be a problem. So they need a lot of help, obviously, because it's nice to play Rogue, but at the same time, then that means that these guys are guaranteed to get 2 wins amongst each other, because they're basically all playing each other, almost. So it's a little bit tougher there. Now, again, these aren't the final, like, every single playoff scenario, but there is basically too many to count. There's only a couple guarantees, and that's like if you win both your games, or if Ghost is the best one, because if Ghost wins, they're in. If they lose, they're out. So that's what I love the most. Ghost, I love you. Let's have every other playoff scenario work that way. But everyone else, it's a lot more complicated. Again, I didn't want to go over every single detail, but I hope you guys understood, for the most part, how it works. The way it works, too, for tiebreakers, I'll let you know, in case you didn't know, it goes game differential first. So there's no more win percentage, which is great, because that won't account for how many games they play. It just matters about how many wins they have over losses, or losses over wins, or whatever. Then if they tie, it goes to head-to-head game differential. So if there is a 3-way tie with a 3-way tie game differential, it would go between those games. So say somehow Allegiance, Ghost, and Rogue all tied, which I don't even think is possible, but hey, whatever. We're just going to go over it. they all tied, it would then go to game differential in the head-to-head games. So Ghost would be even because they went 5 games against everyone. They beat Rogue, they lost to Allegiance, or whatever. So they wouldn't advance necessarily because they're even. So someone would have to go positive. Say Allegiance 3-1 Rogue, which didn't happen either, but we're just going to say that. Then Allegiance would actually move forward because if they split with Ghost or whatever the case may be, they would be +1 game differential, Rogue would be -1, and Allegiance would actually move forward. So that's how that works. If they're all tied there, I think it goes to like the next highest ranked team, how you did against them, I think, or the highest ranked team. I'm not really sure, but I don't think we have to worry about those here. So if it does come up, I'll bring it up on the desk again. You don't have to follow along too closely. Just know what basically your team needs, and we will follow along as the day goes on. Obviously, this is also a modified schedule. We had to change the schedule a little bit. Chicago, he had to do his SATs next week. So we actually had to move the EG game later. So that's why EG Rogue is not the first game. I believe it was the first game. So we had to swap some games around. But here's the schedule. And if you want to play along with playoff scenarios, I'll put the link in the description below. But that's it. That's all I got for you. I have to go to sleep because I have to be up at 5:30. So that is 8 hours from now. Gotta upload this to YouTube, put a little fancy picture, and yeah, that'll do it. But good luck to all the teams out there. Good luck to my predictions, and good luck to all the fans out there. Unless you're G2 fans that are going to comment on this video saying, why did I pick Cloud9 over G2, and then get salty about it. So besides you guys, everyone else, have a great night. We'll see you in RLCS tomorrow, I guess. I think I'll put up this video before that, so good night. Bye-bye.